Hello, world.
And we are locked in. Dave, this may be the best your hair has ever looked.
Yep. I was going to say something nice about you, but I'm just going to let you talk good about me tonight.
I was about to say, you're not going to compliment me, Dave?
You look tall today.
Thank you. We're sitting down. But anyway, guys, this is a locked interview with a very talented and, by the way, former Silver Sands Warrior. We share the same middle school.
That is pretty cool.
This is meant to be.
We did not know that until he was on the stage with us at Pensacola Island Fights 50, and he told us about that. We're like, small world. Ain't that crazy? He lives in Pensacola. He kicks ass for a living, and he went to the same middle school as you.
I liked this guy because we share the same name, T's, and we went to the same middle school. So I'm like, okay, this is meant to be. Let's get him on this. Let's get him locked in, Dave.
Okay, that sounds good with me. Is he ready to roll?
Yeah. Okay. So guys, without further ado, the man himself, Max Mustaki, joining us via Locked In Satellite Radio. Okay, here he is, the man himself, Max Mustaki. You have a great name. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
We are doing great as always.
That is true. Max likes anyone who's named Max, so you're definitely on his good list for sure to start on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not too many times you meet humans named Max. It's usually dogs. So
I know, right?
It's nice to... Yeah, man, I don't know what that whole deal is. You know, there's that, I guess, that time frame where that name was just hot for small dogs. So
it's the most common dog name. And then get this. This is the most irritating thing here. Is your name Maxwell? Is it Maximus? I'm like, no, it's just Max.
No, I wish it was Maximus. It's Maxwell.
Oh, yours is Maxwell.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, we have a Maxwell and a Max, and then listen to this. Then this is the second best story of this interview conversation. You live in Pensacola Beach, Florida. You literally kick ass for a living. We live in Daytona Beach, Florida. We talk for a living. But you and Max went to the same damn middle school in Port Orange, Florida. What's the chances of that?
Yeah, that's wild. Small world.
Once a warrior, always a warrior. But let's get talking about you. You're truly a real warrior. So I saw on your Instagram, you have some big news coming up, December. I don't know how much you can share, but what's going on in December? Are you making a return? What's the deal?
Yeah, so I'm going to drop to 145. We'd been, talking about it before, and, I was just kind of, hesitant on going down because I've never been that low. The lowest I've been is when I fought Brandon Davis, and then I made 152 on, 4 days' notice.
Wow.
So they were like, you can make 145. And, the guys at 55, they're not small. I mean, perfect example is my last opponent. He's 6'3". He had a 7-inch reach advantage. So it's I feel like maybe 145 is a better place for me. I can hang with the 55ers. I don't feel like the power is too much or anything like that. But why fight a division where I could probably have the advantage at 45, and a lot of, there's guys that are my size that fight at 45, like Mike Davis. We're roughly about the same size. He's 6 foot, and he walks around, I believe, around the same weight I do, and I'm I see all these other guys like my buddy Damon Miner in Virginia. He fought at 55, and now he's making, I think, the cut down to 45. So I'm going to see more guys that were maybe 55ers starting to go to 45 because these guys are getting huge, man. They're 6'3".
Yeah.
I'm not. I'd rather fight a guy shorter than me than a guy taller than me.
No, it's very true. That's kind of funny you said about Mike Davis. He was over the house. We had him over for UFC 229. I don't know if he's going to make 155 anymore. He had a lot of Reese's peanut butter cups. It's his birthday, so he had a lot of food. So he might be a little bit going to 170. But we looked at your fights. Max, you just fight monsters. Is that something you kind of, cherish the moment of fighting the best of the best in the area? Because your last 5 fights is just who's who of, top-end talent in the Florida area. Absolute warrior, my man. How do you pick your opponents?
Well, the first fight that I had back with Island Fights, the first fight I had with them, period, was I came off a 4-year layoff. So I don't think they really knew what to do with me, because that's a big gap. 4 years of not being active. And so they gave me to Elvin Brito. And at the time, he just lost their title to Keon Caldwell. A lot of people thought that was a pretty close fight, And So I was like, all right, man, I'm gonna have a hard fight. So that was my first fight back, and if anybody's watched that fight, I got banged up pretty good, and then after that I went 5-0. So it was kind of put me like in a weird position because where maybe it would have been smarter for me to kind of pick my opponents a little bit better so I could set myself up for some smarter fights maybe later on. I had a hard fight.
You there?
This guy. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
I'm sorry, I cut out. I don't know what the last thing I said was.
No, it's all good. You pride yourself on fighting tough people, and you beat them. So the moral of the story is you're a beast. But the thing is, Max, your last fight was on Contender Series, and it was a hard-fought fight. You lost because you had a broken foot, and you still fought. And to me, that was a win for you. Although it's a loss on your record, it was a win. The amount of heart you showed and how long you hung in there, it was the best fight of the night. You showed so much heart. So after a fight like that, what will you see Max be like in December? Have you changed as a fighter? Has that helped you grow?
Well, yeah, I mean, like, can you hear me before I start talking? I don't know if I'm like in a dead zone.
We hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that fight wasn't planned on going like that. I didn't, obviously intend on breaking. It was the first kick. It was like 10 seconds in, I smashed my foot.
That's
so
cool.
I had like a whole idea of kind of like things that I wanted to do, and then I was very limited in that fight. And I don't feel like I got to, I got to show that I'm tough and stuff, but, I've shown that in other fights, and I didn't really want to I wanted to look sharp, and it put me just in a bad spot right off the get. So I don't really need to change much. I mean, there's things that I was working on leading into that fight that I just didn't get to do because of the circumstances. And I don't worry about any of the bad situations that I'll get put in fights. I mean, I've pretty much seen a lot of bad, scenarios now. I've been rocked, and I've been put in a lot of bad spots, and I don't really worry about that. I'm just more focused on just fighting real sharp, and that's what everyone would have got to see. I don't know if the results would have been any different. I can't say I would have won or lost, but I would have looked much different if I would have had two working feet for sure.
Well, no doubt. I mean, I think anybody would. And what's impressive to me, now Dave and I talk, we love NFL, and Aaron Rodgers is much better than Mitchell Trubisky and Dak Prescott off script. Any fighter can go in there with a great game plan, but as soon as you get punched in the face, what happens? You literally had a broken foot and still made it a war, and I think everybody was impressed with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, too, because, I mean, I'll be honest, before fights, man, I'm like a nervous wreck. I don't know how some guys' minds are. I just know how mine is, and I'm always pretty scared going into those things. But it's funny because one of my boxing coach, Big Roy, always says, when you're scared like that, that's when you're the most dangerous. And I think that's real true. Like when my foot broke, I had the ability. There was only maybe one point in that whole fight where I was like, dude, I'm over this. That was like when he hit me with like a body shot and I was down on the ground. Okay. And he came in to like finish me off. My foot's broke. I'm getting like range shots on my nose is broken. I'm like, yeah, I probably just want to go home at this point, but then I have to think about, man, if I quit right now, I'm going to have to go home and see all my friends and my family. And that just bothers me. I'd rather get finished than to give up, and some people say, well, that's stupid. You should know when to say it's enough and things like that. And I'm all for like tap into a submission or a joint, like things that can sideline you, but chokes and things of that nature, like I'm probably going to just go to sleep, man, and hope that the dude lets go, on my way out and maybe I escape that way. But I don't ever see me like quitting. So,
wow.
I'll probably always fight like that.
We respect that. That's awesome, Max. When we were there at Island Fights 50, Max and I, we were so pumped. We love watching fights. We're going to all the events in Florida. You were there. You were on the stage with us. We talked to you. We were watching a couple of fights. How is it to be a fighter and to watch a fight? Do you get nervous? Do you kind of watch a fight almost like you're watching the other fighters, almost watching tape? Or do you just take it in, drink a couple cold ones, and enjoy the night? Like, what is it for you to watch Island Fights 50 just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I enjoy it, and it's different if it's somebody I know. I'll have like feelings about the fight. I'll be like, oh man, you get kind of nervous when it's your friends because you have no control over the situation, you know? And so that's the only time I kind of get a little anxious, I guess. But if it's just two guys fighting, I just enjoy watching it, you know, and it's good because some of the guys that fight on island fights are potential matchups for me later on, you know. So if there's a chance somebody's fighting and I can sit in and watch, you know, that's always a good thing. So I won't pass on that opportunity. And plus, they're fun fights to go to. So I just think, you know, who doesn't like watching a fight?
Hell yeah, we love them.
Now, Max, the floor is yours. I saw some, like, on your Instagram story, cracks me up. You have such great stories. Where can people find you on social media, your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter? Please promote. We want people to follow you.
My Instagram is just my name, Max Mustaki, and same with Facebook. I had a Snapchat, but you know, I'm not very active on that thing. And then I had a Twitter when I did the Contender series. They made me, or they didn't make me, but they were like, hey, you should probably start a Twitter. So we started a Twitter, but I haven't used it or something, so it's suspended. So I got to work on getting that.
Okay.
Not suspended.
It's like the UFC. If you get beat up, they suspend you for 60 days. And Twitter, if you don't use it, they suspend you for 60 days. It's a small world. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have to get a hold of that. So I'll need to get on there maybe this weekend and see if I can straighten that out.
Absolutely. How about the people of Team Fake Gear? They do so much for island fights. You know, they're just a great bunch of people, great sponsor. How long have you been connected with Team Fake Gear?
I've been connected with them ever since after I fought Sock. I met them backstage. My training partner, Devin Cushion, he's sponsored by them as well. He's one of their athletes. And they were interviewing him, and then, you know, I met him through Devin, and then next thing you know, they're like, hey, you know, would you want to be a sponsored athlete? And, of course, I definitely want to be a part of that team. So, yeah, I'm happy I'm with those guys. They look out for us, and they're always at the events. They're real supportive, you know. I know they go down and hang out with Coach Pete and Taylor and them. And yeah, I mean, they're just really good people, man. They were packed in the house at this last event. They always have the tables, you know, on the opposite side of the ring if you're coming out from the catwalk, you know. So it's good to have them there. And I have another sponsor too, Chill Crowd Therapy. They work with a lot of the athletes in Pensacola, so they're real good to me. And then my buddy Colt, he's got a place called Pensacola House of Barbers. So these are some of the people. I got a buddy also runs a spot called Snowbashi. He sponsored me on my last fight, so I got to give him a shout out. And then my buddy Paul Gilliard, NCR Coding, and just my gyms, man, Remedy BJJ and the Dungeon. Devin Cushion also trains there as well.
Oh yeah, D
and
Cush.
They got a lot of up and coming boxers.
That's awesome. You have to have a great team to really flourish, and you truly have a great team, a great supporting cast. So thank you so much, Max, for giving us your time. Have a great night, and remember, you're always welcome to get locked in.
Hey, I appreciate it. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
You too. What an amazing interview. Max Mustaki, I thought his name was cool. I thought us going to Silver Sands was cool. I kind of put myself on the spot there. But he was even better with the interview.
Yeah, an absolute warrior. Like, that's what I got from that interview. A fighter, has no quit in him. Jeez, a monster.
That's scary when he's like, you're going to have to pass me out. You're going to have to finish me. Like,
yeah.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, I love that. I wish Connor had a little bit of that in him.
Come on, man. You had to throw that in there. Come on.
I did. All right.
Yeah. Anyway, Team Fake Gear guys, big shout out to them. Talking about Island Fights 50, their sponsored athlete, Max Mustaki. They were amazing in that event. And they always are. They always support the people. They always are behind them. And he also mentioned Devin Cushing.
That's our guy.
Yeah, that guy's a star in the making.
Best jab in the business.
There you go. Guys, we're available on all podcast platforms. That's Apple Podcasts. That's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher Radio. You have to give us 5 stars, download and subscribe. You can compliment Dave's hair. You can compliment the podcast. You can hate us, whatever you want. We want to hear from you. So leave a comment.
You hate us because you ain't us.
There you go. And like always, on that note, stay locked in.
I just want to be a better man to my baby. Give me all good love. I was singing with